Welcome to the Veterinary Marketing Podcast, where it's all about helping your veterinary practice attract, engage, and retain clients. Broadcasting a new podcast every Monday from sunny Southern California, here's your host, Brandon Bashirs.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to episode number 184 of the Veterinary Marketing Podcast. Hope you're having a fantastic day. Today is part 3 of our 4-part series of what to do when you get tasked with being the marketing person. So if you're a person who's been in the practice, or maybe you're the person that's going to be giving this responsibility to somebody, but basically you're saying, hey, you are now in charge of the marketing. So what should you do now that you've gotten that kind of laid on your lap as your responsibility? So let's talk about this in greater detail. The first part we talked about just a general overview. Part 2 was who should you be targeting, what kind of offers, what kind of assets, getting things ready to create a plan. This episode, we're going to be talking about how to create a plan. It's going to be very practical. It's going to be specifically around how do we create a plan that drives clients in the door. And that's ultimately what marketing is for. You're trying to drive clients in the door to your veterinary practice so that they can come and get better service for their pets and give their pets healthier and happier lives. So before we jump into today's episode, I want to mention a few things. First, if you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe in iTunes, Google Play, wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify. And then if you haven't joined the Veterinary Marketing Nerds Facebook group, you should totally join. Head on over to facebook.com/groups/the Veterinary Marketing Nerds. All right, let's jump into today's episode. It's going to be straight to the point with not a lot of filler or anything like that. So it's probably not going to be that long of an episode because making a plan is actually not that difficult. But it's important that you actually do it. I think that it's important we discuss why you should have a marketing plan to begin with. Number one, marketing plans definitely, if you create a plan, you're going to be in a better situation to actually execute that plan, I think. Because if you're constantly reacting, trying to figure out, okay, what should we post today? What should the offer be? What should I do? I'm not sure. You're having to use a lot of creativity, and sometimes it doesn't come up, right? You can't get your creativity going, and so it might end up not posting anything. You might not end up creating any offers or sending out that email blast. You're just sitting there kind of with writer's block. And so I think that this is the cure to giving, your writer's block or your content block or your offer block, or whatever you're feeling, to get pushed through so that you can actually create the content and put it out there. So batching your work is also a lot more time effective so that you don't have to, again, start and stop and try to figure out what's going on. I think as you're moving and you're working your plan, you can see if things are working or not working and make adjustments as you go. But at least this gives you a framework for what you should be doing. The next thing that I think is very valuable to consider with respect to this is if you have a plan and you have something that's out there where you say, here's the goals that we're trying to achieve, here's the plan that we're going to use to get there, you're able to reflect back and think to yourself, okay, what worked well, what didn't work, what should we do to make things work better next year. But if you haven't documented what your plans were and what you were doing to help achieve those plans, think back to last February of last year, no matter what time of year it is. What was the marketing plans that you had? What worked well? What didn't work well? If you haven't written these things down, it is extremely difficult to try to recall things, especially if you have other jobs at your job. Marketing isn't the only thing that you're doing. I do marketing full time, and I can't remember what the last if I think back to like 5 episodes of the podcast, I can't even remember what the podcast episode was about. So, using things off of memory recall, unless you have like a photographic memory, you're just not going to be effective at trying to remember what you did and what worked. Something that I'm actually doing and has really helped my digital marketing is that when I go and create ad campaigns, I actually think about my mindset when I'm going into the ad campaign creation. And I got this idea from Ray Dalio, who wrote this book called Principles, which is a great book related to investing and management and things. But what he said that he did was he would go into every single trade, write down the trades that he was doing, explain what his thought was, what his emotion was, what the logic was behind it, everything, and then he would review the trade and see what worked and what didn't. And I just thought that was really insightful because, a lot of times if you're creating ads, you're trying to go for emotional angles, or you're trying to go for rational angles or discounts, or all these different things. If you can say, I know for sure that this 15% discount offer works great, or I can know for sure that this emotional angle for dog owners or for cat owners works great, you can just really hone in your skills and understand what works for your audience and what doesn't work, and then you'll know, though, what your thoughts were going into it. So, as an example, when I create campaigns, I'll typically make note of what my target audience is, what I think their main motivation is, what they get from this emotionally, what they get benefit-wise, because you got benefits and you have the features, and then what my creative is, why I chose that creative, and just kind of the methodology behind that. And then I will review the campaign once it goes. It's just really interesting to look back and see, and then especially with campaigns that I'm running at bigger scale too, I say, like, I'm trying this because I think that this image size is going to work better, or I think that this emotional angle is going to be more effective than just talking about the actual thing that they're getting. And so I hope that this makes sense. But there's a lot of ways to approach your ads and your marketing, and so developing kind of an understanding of what your audience really reacts to is very, very valuable. So I just wanted to make that note too, because if you have a plan and it's created, you can adjust things next year based on how things went this year. Now, I know everything's changing in terms of your marketing and what's effective and what's not, but make sure that you at least are documenting this so that you don't have to try to think back and look at it. Making a plan also allows you to set goals too. And I think it is important to set goals so that you can know if you're going to be successful or not. So I think there's 3 buckets that we need to talk about. First, you have your awareness bucket, which is going to be, you have specific goals and KPIs for awareness. So people getting to know your brand and knowing that you exist. If people don't know you exist, they can't do business with you. Then we have evaluation goals, which are people need to know, or once they know about you, they need to make that consideration and begin to kind of research you. And then once they are considering you, they're either going to become a client or they're not. And those are bottom of funnel goals. So across your marketing campaigns, we have those 3 buckets. And I think starting out with goals in your practice and then kind of reverse engineering them is where to start. So we need to consider how many new clients we want per month. Or is that a goal that we're going to be tracking here? How many phone calls do we want from our ads? How many clicks do we want from our ads? How many website visitors do we want? How many form request fills? Those kind of things that are bottom of funnel numbers that actually help the bottom line in your practice. That's what bottom of funnel is. Bottom of funnel is also in relation to retention of clients. So how many old clients came in from last year as well. And what kind of marketing activities can you do to incentivize higher compliance or higher visits or, things like that. And you, having worked in a practice, are going to know what kind of numbers you want to be increasing and things like that. But I think starting and in goal setting, it's always good to work your way back up. Because if you say, for example, I want to have a post that gets 500 likes on it this year, right? That's cool, but it doesn't help you in your bottom line. So reverse engineering it, having people go, let's say we want 25 new clients a month. To help us get to that, we're going to need to get 100 new emails per month with our digital marketing stuff that we're doing. We're going to need to get 30 calls from Google Ads. Based on the budget that we have, we're going to need to get another 120 visits to the website. Things like that are going to be actually definitive on what you can do. So bottom of funnel is client numbers. Middle of funnel is things like email addresses. How many emails are you going to be collecting? How many video views for content that you're doing? How many people are liking your content? How many people are liking your pages? How many followers you have? Things that are in that evaluation stage. And then for top of funnel, it's just going to be purely awareness type things. So that's going to be web page visits, new users on your website per month, traffic on your Facebook page, traffic in terms of video views and engagement. There's definitely overlap in between the evaluation and the awareness, because, like, for example, if you have a video that's, let's say you have a video that's a hospital tour, right? That could be either awareness or it could be evaluation. Depends on how you're using that content. So you need to make sure that you're using appropriate goals based on, what kind of content it is and the context that it has. So understanding those things, we need to really kind of set up goals based on bottom of funnels and then fill it out with awareness content and middle of funnel content. So what do I mean by that? So for example, every single month, if I had like kind of the ideal plan for a practice, it would probably be what I call the 3+1 method, which is you have 3 weeks of promotion and sales and then 1 week of follow-up. And so it's for specific offers. Let's say in January, you want to do a puppy and kitten offer because a lot of people get puppies and kittens for pets. So, you talk about different aspects of puppy and kitten ownership for 2 weeks. Then 1 week, you talk about an offer, retargeting those people that were, basically engaging with your content. And then the week after that is the follow-up with the limited offer for whatever it is that you're doing. Like, that's just as an example. And rotating through, I would say, 3 or 4 core offers every single, 3 or 4 months with that kind of a strategy. And so content is the driver for building those engagement audiences, but really it comes down to, January, we're going to focus in on puppies and kittens. February, we're going to focus in on dentals. March, we're going to focus in on, let's say, senior pet health. April, we're going to focus in on, let's say, diet, health, and just general wellness type things, right? So focusing in on those bottom funnels, and then filling in the, like, let's say, okay, in order to get these, we need to have a special offer that people request. We need to have, that is going to be a landing page and an email sequence and middle of funnel content for that. And then to support that middle of funnel content, we're going to then basically, do one video every 3 days about a different topic kind of related to that general topic. So with puppies or kittens, for example, you could say, hey, week 1 could be about vaccines, and then week 2 could be about like diet, and then week 3 could be about spaying and neutering. And so you're driving different content so that you're not using the same stuff over and over again, but it's related to the offer that you have created. And then week 4 is, hey, we're ending our puppy and kitten special this month. So if you want to make sure, and get your appointment scheduled so that you can enjoy these savings and things, or, whatever it is that you're going to be creating as your offer. Now, we talked about offers in the last episode. If you're not sure about what kind of offers to make or things like that, check that out for sure. But it really is that simple, and figuring out, when your offers are going to expire. I think typically with plans like this, it's helpful definitely to have a start date and an end date, because then you're able to create urgency, which is a good driver for people to take action. You're able to know what you're going to be doing, not having to think about it and constantly reinventing the wheel. And then you're also going to be able to set up a good plan for where you're going to post things, when they're going to be posted, so that you don't have to think about it. So I think that hopefully this is pretty helpful for you. I would love to know if you have any questions at all. I think too, as we talk about executing the plan next week, it's important that your marketing plan is detailed and specific with respect to where you're going to be posting things, what time you're going to be posting things, just so that it gets done and you're able to really track and measure those things. One last thing too that I would say, that in generating a plan, right, where we're going to be measuring and monitoring success, understanding what KPIs are going to be most important for you and your business. It's going to likely be, general numbers in terms of new clients, average transaction in your practice, where the clients are coming from, stuff like that. But it's also important that you make sure and document where you are along your marketing journey. So, like, for example, you need to know how many Facebook fans you have and actually write it down. On this date, we had 1,400 page likes to our Facebook page, or we had 1,500 followers on our Instagram, or whatever. That way you're able to take a look and take inventory of where you're starting out, where you're going, and measure and track that success as you're getting it. So I hope this was helpful. If you ever have any questions, comments, or you need help with anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. And if you would like a planner that is built for kind of tracking all of these things and laying this stuff out, I've created a planner you can get on Amazon. If you search Brandon Brashears on Amazon, my book will come up. It's $20. You can get it shipped to you from Amazon, which is kind of cool. So definitely suggest checking that out. I built it kind of out of wanting to track and plan my own stuff too. So that's what this is for. But I hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a good one.